Hello there, you're listening to the Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Dylan Johnson. Today we're going to talk about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
We'll also be talking about the newest film from Zach Cregger, who came onto the scene with the divisive horror film Barbarian. This year, he's got weapons. Let's start out with the box office breakdown for August 1st to the 3rd. Fantastic Four First Steps in first place still with 38.6 million. However, it's a pretty sizable drop, 67% from its debut weekend. So that's a little rough. However, it's right on the edge of 200 million domestic. So at least stateside, it's doing okay. But definitely seems like it'll be far behind Superman in its total gross.
Very disappointing. Are you able to sit a little farther away from your microphone, Ryan?
Sure. How's that?
Say something like at your normal speaking volume.
I'm saying that Fantastic Four only made 38.6 million this weekend.
That should be good. In second place, The Bad Guys 2 with 21.9 million in its debut.
Should we restart?
Nah, it's fine.
Are you sure about that?
All right, fine. We can start over.
From the top.
From the top.
From the top.
It'll make it easier to edit anyway.
That's some wet. All right, here we go. Bring back a classic, you know? All right, 3, 2, 1. Hello there, you're sleep.
God damn.
All right, 3.
Yeah, drink some water. That'll help.
2. We'll do it live. That's great. Get us on the radio right now. We'll do it live. All right, 3, 2, 1. Hello there. You're listening to the Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Dylan Johnson. Today we're going to talk about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
We'll also be talking about the newest film from Zach Cregger, who came onto the scene with the divisive horror film Barbarian. This year, he's bringing us Weapons, which has been generating a lot of talk. So we'll see how Dylan and I feel about his latest work. All right, we'll start off with the box office breakdown for August 1st to the 3rd. Fantastic Four First Steps, 38.6 million. That's enough to keep it in first place. However, it did have a 67% drop.
Really
pretty
drastic.
Sizable.
So sad.
Yeah, that's tough. Domestically, it is now at around 200 million. So it's still doing okay. But again, it's not going to be a massive smash hit, and it's not going to surpass Superman.
Really, really tragic. In second place, The Bad Guys 2 in its debut with 21.9 million.
And The Naked Gun, also in its debut, had 16.8 million.
Hell yeah. In fourth, Superman with 13.7 million, bringing its domestic total to 300 million.
Mm-hmm. Jurassic World Rebirth, 8.7 million.
Together, the Alison Brie and Dave Franco horror film, 6.7 million.
F1, the movie, 4.1 million.
I Know What You Did Last Summer, the remake, $2 million.
Smurfs, 1.8 million. Rihanna was not able to make it an absolute classic of the summer.
So sad. And rounding out the top 10 in what will probably be its last weekend in the top 10, How to Train Your Dragon with 1.3 million, bringing its domestic total to $260 million.
Mm-hmm. And its worldwide is over 600 million. So it did cross that.
Hell yeah.
So that honestly did pretty well. We'll have to see, in a few weeks here, we'll get the finals for How to Train Your Dragon, F1, Jurassic, Superman, Fantastic Four. So we'll see how all those shake out. But yeah, all seem to come in right around our expectations.
Yep.
Like our most reasonable expectations. No crazy surprises.
And for our box office predictions for August 8th to the 10th, we are talking about Weapons. We saw Weapons. Weapons is coming out. What do you think Weapons is going to do? How are they going to weaponize Weapons?
So if I did not know anything, I would have said 20 mil, 25 mil, something like that.
Mm-hmm. It's very generous, yeah.
However,
You
this
do know
thing
something.
is a crazy hit. It's
Yeah, it is.
insane.
It's a
Um,
juggernaut.
so yeah, that'll be something we talk more about next weekend and put into context of just how crazy it is, how much it made. But yeah, Zach Cregger is going to have. I mean, he already has his next project lined up. It'll be Resident Evil. But after
Ooh.
that, then he'll whatever his next original film is, he's going to get a big old budget for it.
Yep.
So good for him.
Which, if there's any advice, Zach, maybe don't take the biggest budget you can. Okay, we've seen directors bite off a little more than they can chew, and they get a flop from it. So be be a little wary. You know, we don't want the
Mhm.
Damien Chazelle thing to happen. You know,
Hey,
hey,
Damien Chazelle's film should not have been a flop. He used that money beautifully.
I don't disagree. I mean, I didn't see the movie, but what I'm saying is that it was a flop,
I mean,
regardless
that
of
is
what it should
true.
have been.
But also, Scorsese's last two films have been flops, but we
He's
should still
Scorsese.
give
They'll
him
give him 100
200.
million. Yeah, they'll give him $200 million for whatever he wants. They don't care.
Exactly.
They give Martin Scorsese that money, hoping he will get Oscar nominations and bring acclaim to whatever streaming service he's doing
And
it
he
for, Apple
did.
TV
Hey,
or whatever. He did
10 nominations, no wins, but 10 nominations. Okay.
for Apple
So he
TV.
delivers. He does what he needs to do. Okay.
That's all they want. That's all they're looking for. They'll spend all the money in the world just to get a couple of noms. Nom 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 nom.
As they should when it's someone like Scorsese. So, yeah, but that's good advice. That's sound advice for sure. Once you get the blank check, don't go for the craziest idea yet. We'll step it up a little bit and then see how that does. And then on your next one, go all out. But let's talk about Weapons. His second feature, definitely cementing his name as one to look out for in the horror space and in film in general. So we did do an episode on Barbarian, but I think that was me with Sean and
I think
Brett.
I was there. Was I not? I
It may
definitely
have
had
been we may
opinions.
have gotten your take, and then I just had the segment with them, and that was like the bulk
Hmm.
of the episode.
Oh, that might have been it. Yeah, but I
Um,
definitely said something on the podcast about Barbarian because I had quite a bit to say.
so let's refresh. What is your spark notes on your thoughts on Barbarian?
I really liked it. I liked the first half a lot. I
Hmm.
thought it was a cool mystery premise. I thought there was a lot of suspense being built in there. I thought the characters were interesting. I don't think the second half of the movie really delivered because I think it became too heavy on the plot and explaining how the plot works and what it was supposed to be, as opposed to kind of just letting us sit in that feeling of what that mystery is. I think the people behind Barbarian, not just Zach Cregger, the writers, other writers as well, put a lot of emphasis on what the movie was supposed to be about, as opposed to just letting it be what it is, which is a cool mystery with a lot of great filmmaking behind it and some really good performances.
Yeah, I feel similarly. I did like that first half because it felt more grounded, more in that suspense thriller space for
Mhm.
sure. And then things just went crazy towards the end, and
Yeah,
some of that can be delightful. There's definitely a lot of shocking, wild, memorable
sure,
moments,
yeah.
but it just felt less compelling to me at a certain point. So I was checked out in those parts, and then overall in general, even if it is a horror film that's firing on all cylinders, it doesn't necessarily mean I'll love it because that's not really my speed. That's not what I look for.
Not
So
a fan of the genre.
um, yeah, in moments where I'm sure it was delivering for horror folks, anytime they get that jump scare or whatever, that
Yeah.
wasn't the best thing for me. But overall, I think it was just, and Sean had a similar feeling of just it goes off the rails in that second half in a way
Mhm.
that I think ultimately is detrimental to the film overall. So
Mhm.
yeah, definitely, it put Zach Cregger on the radar. I was definitely intrigued of what would be the follow up to it. And then we're hearing all kinds of rave reviews about Weapons.
Also,
So
a banger of a trailer, if you ask me. I think the trailer for this movie slaps.
it is a good trailer. I tried to avoid it as much as possible though, because it was one of the things I had heard earlier on that it was a very solid script. It was the whole Jordan Peele thing. He was trying to get it for his production company, Monkey Paw, and it
Mhm.
didn't happen. And he
Yeah.
was very pissed about it and fired his team or fired someone. Someone got the boot. But anyway, that clued us in early on that okay, this was a wanted script, and
Mhm.
so that alone. sells me better than anything. So I wanted to stay as blind as possible. But again, whenever you see trailers, 30 minutes of them play. So even if you show up 20 minutes late, like I always do for a showtime, I still see trailers. And so I did see Weapons. But yeah, it was a very effective trailer. Again, just the tagline, like everyone in a class gets up at 2:17 a.m. except one kid.
Yeah,
They
it's a great
leave.
premise.
Like that immediately hooks you. So,
Yeah, really, really strong hook.
mhm. But did it deliver? Dylan, what are your initial impressions?
I really liked it. I had a very good time. Again, that basic premise that the movie like literally starts with, it very much starts with that hook. It gets you. It gets you in the seat and it makes you want to know what the answer to the mystery is. Where did these kids go? And I find it like very entertaining to see how that mystery plays out. I think it's entertaining to watch the character dynamics of these like innocent people who are put in this very extreme situation, and some of them are just trying to find their kids. Some of them are trying to escape any kind of like blame. Other characters are just trying to exist in this world where a lot of chaotic things are happening, and uh, they're just getting entangled in this sort of story by accident. And I like the structure of it being kind of like a Magnolia sort of different character, changing POV every once in a while to different characters, and then going back and retelling certain parts. I find that very entertaining. I thought it was a good way to structure it. I do take issues with parts of it as it goes on, which we'll get to later. But overall, I think it was made incredibly well. I was, geared into the movie the whole time. I was entertained by the premise. I thought the horror elements were there. I thought the psychological thriller elements were there. I thought the performances were fantastic. I thought the way it was shot was really well done. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, Brian, your initial impressions?
I pretty much agree. I
All
think
right.
on the technical standpoint, again, it was definitely a knockout. And then I think it did deliver really well, especially early on with a lot of those thriller moments. And I do like the ensemble that we get here, the structure of like going to these different characters. Because obviously, starting out, okay, we're going to see how the teacher responds, how the parent responds. But then very quickly, we get to these other perspectives that, like you said, they're just sort of getting drawn into this. They didn't necessarily start out as being too tied in with all the kids disappearing, and so we get to see some of those diversions and then how they weave back into the story of the missing kids. So I thought all of that was really well done. I thought it was a smart move as well, just from a writing and structural standpoint, to keep escalating things, get at this different perspective, and then once it hits that like climax or right on the edge of the climax, and we switch to a different perspective and sort of rebuild from there. So I liked that a lot. So I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it was very effective at keeping me interested, keeping me glued to the screen, wanting to figure out what happens. As you know, I am a fan of mysteries. I do like to know things, to find out things. I like being pulled along in that journey. So those elements I thought were great. I'd be curious again to when we go into this more like talking about the horror elements, because
Mhm.
there's some things that are creepy for sure. Obviously,
Mhm.
there's some jump scares here and there. You get the like musical cues to go along with it. So there were a handful of moments where that happened. I was not scared once in this film. So I don't know
Right.
that it's like a scary film, but I think it is effective at being an unsettling film and like
Yeah.
making you uneasy at times. So yeah, that portion of it I think worked really well. Um, so yeah, I thought it lived up to the hype, at least of keeping me entertained, making me enjoy my trip, my impulsive random trip out to the movie theaters to see Weapons. Um, so yeah, we'll dig into spoilers now. But Dylan, I have to let you know one of the favorite recent segments on our show, our podcast, is me talking about my theatrical experience and my ongoing war with people that use phones
Oh no,
in the theater.
you got a
And
bad one.
sure enough,
Oh
that was
no.
the case. First of all, it was like a 10:30 p.m. showing.
Okay, it's
It
pretty
was
late.
packed. It was packed.
Hell
Like
yeah,
I
that's a
was
good
in
experience.
the like third seat from the front, like
Mhm.
the third row from the front. Like that's the seat that I had to pick. And there were some people in the row right in front of me.
Yeah.
Like three or four people came in after it had started. It has that thing of the girl black screen, but the girl's like doing the whole
Keeping the
spiel of
narration. Yeah.
2:17 a.m. They leave. So they came in during that. This one dude was on his phone And again, this is the stuff that boggles my mind for like 35 minutes straight. Like at
Wow.
a certain point, I'm like, it's annoying me to no end. It pisses me off, but I'm also like, how far
Why
is
did
this
you
going to
even
go?
go? Why did you even go to the movies if you were just gonna sit on your phone?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what are
Why
you
did you
doing? And
pay money to sit in
other
that
people
chair
too,
to watch this thing when you
like
could
two
go
other people
home?
next to
You
me.
could go home and you could put on a movie and just sit on your phone for free.
Exactly, exactly. Um, and then again, it always kills me. I'm always trying to find out like what are they doing because it's not just he's looking through one thing. He's like going to different apps, like finding things to do.
Crazy.
I think I can't be 100% sure. Do you have Chat GPT on your phone?
I do not. I
Okay,
would never.
I don't either. I don't know what it looks like, but the
It's like a white, just a white scroll kind of like chat thing with a little black emblem at the top, I think.
but it does the because you type something in and then it'll do like big dots and then
Yeah, I
send a
think so.
whole like
Yeah.
block message to you, something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
It could have just been a messenger
that's what
encounter.
it kept happening. Well, because I was like, this, they're texting like novels back and forth, or I think it was he's typing something into Chat GPT and then
Okay.
it takes like 2 seconds, 2, 3, 5 seconds, but then it's like, again, this long, like 4 paragraphs. So I'm like, he's just like chatting with AI right now. Like, what is he doing? And then I'm wondering, like, is he using it like he's texting
Hmm.
ChatGPT, or is he like trying to figure something out? Like, I had no idea.
Hmm.
But anyway, at a certain point, I was just like, this is like too much. And it's one of those reclining seats as well. It was the Winter Park
Sure.
Regal. Um, and it's like he's holding the phone up in a way where it's just like perfectly in between his seat and the seat next to him. So it's like there's no escape. I try and lean further to my left to like avoid it, but it's like perfectly there. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So at the end of one of the segments, once it ended, because the other thing too, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, well, I don't want to go during like a scary moment because what if like
Yeah.
the
You before you go, hey, and he goes, oh!
it's completely silent, and then I just come up I'm like, hey, can you turn?
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me not do that. Um, but anyway, so I went up after one of the segments end, and I'm like, I can see your phone, like please put it away. And he doesn't say like, oh, sorry, my bad. He goes like, how can I hold it where you won't see it? Like he didn't want to put the phone away. He just wanted to, which is nice, I guess, for me. But he was like, what if I just hold it further down? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I won't see it in that case. But like in my head,
Nah,
I'm still
dude,
like,
hold your
bro, just.
ground. Go all the way. Say put it away or leave.
Well, I didn't do that, but again, I was just like, yeah, if you just hold it all the way down, it should be fine. And then I went
Yeah,
back
if
to
he
my
puts it
seat.
down like by his legs, sure.
Yeah. And then he got up and left for about 10 minutes, and then came back, and then didn't use his phone again.
Okay. He's a
So
businessman. He was doing business dealings, perhaps.
maybe
Important
this was
business
like
transaction. He couldn't get away from the family for a little bit to conclude his
he
business.
was like 20 years old, by the way. So I don't know. He was not doing that. But
He turns around. This is an important transaction that I have to oversee.
yeah. So yeah, that was my experience. But at the end, again, this is why I tell these stories. Okay, never be afraid to go up and tell. Maybe you should be like 1% afraid because some people are crazy. But if you do it nice and respectfully, they shouldn't get angry. And even if they do, you can always rest assured you're the one in the right. Okay, they're in the wrong. If anyone comes and is like talking in a movie theater or on their phone, they're the ones in the wrong. You should never apologize for having to tell them, bruh, we all paid money for this. I want to watch the movie in peace.
Thanks,
You
Larry
put your
David.
phone away. Okay. I'm just saying,
You're
you're not a curmudgeon, okay, if you want
a bit
to
of a
watch
curmudgeon.
a movie. No, not at all. Okay, so
What are you doing? You got your phone out? Put your phone away. What? There's a movie going on. What are you texting? Put it away. Put your
didn't
phone
you
away.
see the message at the front? You can't text during the thing. No talking, no texting. Silence your cell phones now. That's what they say.
No talk, no
Don't.
text. No talk, no text.
So he didn't after that. It was all solved. So there you go. And it works again in Bulgaria, works in America, it works everywhere. Okay. So just
Yeah.
if you're being bothered, let them know.
Other than
Respectfully,
that,
let them know.
what was the theater experience like? Because you had a packed theater. There's got to be. It's always a more fun experience when the theater's packed.
Yeah, pretty good. Again, there's no. I mean, I don't go to horror films that often, so I don't know how often people are actually like screaming in a theater. But there's nothing like that. So, uh,
Dude, Sinners in a packed theater was awesome. We had people clapping, man. That shit
mm,
was sick. I love when people clap in the theater in the movie when something badass happens. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's it is great. I always love someone tried to clap at the end of Weapons. Like after it ended, it did not catch on, which I thought was funny.
I've
Um,
always wanted to see that happen to Lillian. Somehow, every time she claps for a movie, she gets people to clap with her. I've always wanted to see her fail, where she goes to clap and then she's the only one clapping.
mhm. But yeah, people most of the time they'll catch on,
Yeah.
especially
Anyway,
opening weekend. They'll get
anyway,
it.
the movie itself, initial impression. Now that we've gotten the phone guy out of the way, you're locked into the movie. What do you think?
Yeah. Like I said, we can dive into the spoilers now
Yeah.
for all this stuff. I thought the stuff with like Josh Brolin in particular, dealing with the fallout and all his frustration, his grief, and it being misdirected at the teacher. Like I thought that was compelling. I enjoyed
Mhm.
that. I think there's definitely some good character work, like laying the groundwork for what these characters and their interactions with each other can be. I don't know if it fully delivered on seeing all those through to their like most interesting
Yeah.
conclusions. Um, or I also don't know if it said all the things that it could have said with the setup. I'd be curious to see if you finds that there was a lot of like deep thematic stuff going on beneath the surface here.
Hmm.
I thought there was a lot of like things that were planted there that can be interpreted in that way, but
Mhm.
I don't think the film was actually all that concerned with like diving deep into it.
That was my
Which,
biggest problem because
yeah,
my problem
yeah,
with Barbarian was if you're gonna do like a weird, crazy movie where things kind of go off the rails, I would like there to either be like a theme that is kind of carrying me through to stay with the going off the rails stuff, or just like a deep commitment to not over explaining and just wanting to like give like a certain feeling to the audience so that I
mhm,
can engage either with a theme or feeling that I have in me. And I felt like Barbarian spent a lot of time hammering home the plot so that it made sense to where I wasn't feeling anything in particular and it had no semblance of a theme. And so it fell apart for me in the end because I was like, I don't really care that this creature has been living under this house, this like child demon thing has been living under this house for 50 years or whatever and is deformed and whatnot. I don't know about this character. I have no emotional connection and I don't care. I would just like to like feel either the feeling of fear if you're trying to make me feel scared or whatever feeling you're trying to get out of me, or to like have some kind of theme involved with the main characters that we were introduced with that carried through to the end. And in this one, I think it's a big step up from Barbarian. I think there were themes that were laid down in the beginning, in particular that theme of loss, which I think comes about in all movies that involve characters that vanish.
mhm,
Prisoners is a lot like that. The Vanishing is a lot like that, where you have this horror situation where you are trying to find a loved one and you don't know where they are and you don't know what's happened to them and you just have this feeling of dread. And I like the idea that you have 17 families that are dealing with this feeling of loss and then also like a massive amount of confusion as to what actually happened because it's so peculiar and
yep,
everything is targeted at Julia Garner. It feels like he's like Zach Cregger's trying to make a statement about weaponizing your grief and like attacking somebody specifically. Like all these families are like pointed at her. They're targeting her because she seems like an easy target. She seems like the guilty party without any evidence to suggest that she is. And they are the weapons that are being sent at her. And I like that a lot, especially with, how the plot itself actually plays out. But I think they lose that thread around the time that you get to like Marcus's chapter and he starts to really get into the plot of explaining who Aunt Gladys is and how she's controlling the people and what
mhm,
her plot is and why she's doing all this. And then they, at the end of the James one, they actually find the kids, which I thought was, to me, it was a little disappointing because if the entire theme is supposed to be about weaponizing grief, if they find the kids at the end, I don't really know I thought the lesson was going to be like moving on and not, having a legitimate resolution. And at the beginning of the movie, they do say they never come back, which you could argue they don't come back the same way. I guess they are
mhm,
traumatized at the end of the movie, but I was under the impression that those kids were gone, like you were never going to see those kids again, or like dead or something. And
mhm,
I was on board. I was vibing with that because I feel like you could carry that theme that you're trying to hit in the beginning a lot farther if Josh Brolin was trying to find his kid and not succeeding and constantly looking and not succeeding, and he's weaponizing his grief towards other people because he doesn't know what he's supposed to do with it, because he can't find someone to blame, and he's trying to find something to blame and there's nothing there, because the concept is these kids get up and they just walk out. Who are you supposed to blame? Your kid just left. Do you blame yourself? Do you blame someone else? He's obviously blaming Julia Garner, and he's like attacking her with that grief.
Hmm.
He's attacking himself in his own conscience, and I just wish they kept that going. And I think they just get too in depth with like the Aunt Gladys plot line, to where I think it's interesting. I think there's a lot of cool bits about it, especially in the Alex chapter, where you kind of learn how she controls his parents and like controls him through his parents.
Yep.
But ultimately, it drops the themes for me. And luckily, there is like the feeling there of kind of horror and dread revolving around that character that kind of keeps me going. But I really like the themes that were there in the beginning, and I wish they had stayed till the end.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel somewhat similarly because in that beginning, like the setup is so well done that I'm like, I would just watch a movie that is, instead of we go to a cop, the junkie, the other like characters, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, let's just go to these different parents that are dealing with this
Yeah,
grief in different ways. And then the teacher obviously is interesting as well, since she's having to bear the brunt of everyone's
I
grief.
would have been down for that too.
So they're blaming her. But I'm like, but that's a totally different movie because then that's not, about actual like horror film stuff of like, oh, the scares and something creepy is going on and
Yeah,
we need an
it's a
explanation
witch,
for,
yeah.
because again, if kids are leaving at 2:17 a.m. with their arms like that all at once, like obviously that's not a real life thing. So there has to be some supernatural explanation for it. Um, but if they just had like, oh, these kids disappear, and that's what the other thing, like I've seen people are like, oh yeah, this is a school shooting allegory and stuff like that. Again, a classroom full of kids are gone.
Mhm,
Weapons is the title. You see the gun over the house in Josh
mhm.
Brolin's like nightmare thing.
You can make the
It's like
argument, yeah. I think there's some
that's
strong symbolism there for
that's
it.
there, yeah, and I think people are connecting those dots. I really don't know that those dots are there to connect though, because again,
I
it's a
didn't
different
think of it,
movie.
but now that I hear it, I could see someone thinking that with the symbolism of
Yeah,
what they're trying to present.
but
I don't
I
I
don't think
didn't.
it dives too deeply into that. And again, the issue is like different. Again, you can say, well, everyone's trying to figure out why did this happen? Why did
Mhm,
like the shooter go in? What's the motives? Is it mental health? Is it something else? How'd they get the guns? All this,
mhm.
did the police officers
You can
react in
make an
time?
argument that is a
You
similar
can make
story of
that,
like
yeah,
weaponizing loss, of like trying to blame something, but really there's nothing left to blame.
yeah.
You
But
can
again,
make that argument.
I just
That's
think
not where I would have gone with it though.
it's a different way of approaching it. If again, what we're having here is clearly, again, it's like a supernatural
Yeah,
explanation. Like
it's a
they're
witch.
the people that have the unresolved grief of like, why did this happen, is legitimate because it's like this is an insane thing. Like it would never normally happen.
Yeah.
Like the kids getting up and leaving in that way at the same time all at once.
Mhm.
Um, like they're obviously, yeah, they're trying to figure out why this would happen in an explanation. And since that isn't tied to something that would happen
That's
normally
my
in
point. Is
reality.
it's hard for me to like talk about the movie on a deeper level because I'm told exactly what the plot is.
Mm,
I don't really understand, because I feel like I lose the theme a little bit into the movie. And at that point, because it becomes so much about the plot, and I know the plot, like I'm told everything. I'm in those last few chapters, I'm handheld through like the explanation of why this is happening. There's just not much left for me to talk about other than I thought it was really cool and I liked the way it was shot, and I
right.
like a lot of like the technicalities of it. But like, what is there more to talk about on a deeper level for me here?
Exactly. So let's try it. Let's talk about it. Because again, on that
Give it a
surface
shot.
level, like the plot part of it, again, I think it's
It's
well
great.
done,
Yeah, it
entertaining, like
makes
all of that
sense.
worked.
Yeah.
Um, but when I'm trying to see, like, okay, like, did I care really about these characters? Not
Mm.
really. I mean, there's moments where I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't want this person to get like, I don't want Julie Gardner to get choked out by Josh Brolin when he's under the spell. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I don't want that. But
I wish I
um,
cared more. And I think if we
exactly,
had stayed with Julia Garner and Josh Brolin more, I would have ended up caring more.
yeah.
But we lose them like halfway through the movie, and we don't really see them in a major way for like another 45 minutes,
Hmm.
which is not terrible, but there just needs to be. I just wish it didn't end up spending so much time telling me what the plot was. It just told it to me. And I really like the Aunt Gladys character, but I thought she was better served as sort of like an ambiguous demon force. I like when she was just popping up in people's dreams, when she was on the ceiling and when she was in the bed next to Josh Brolin and when she was in the forest with James. Like I like that she pops up kind of like It the clown or Pennywise the clown, in It. I thought that
Yeah.
was like she has a very expressive and crazy looking face to where you can just flash an image of it and it is startling. So I think from that perspective, it's very cool. And I do like in the Alex chapter when we learn about her and we learn about like what she is doing. And I think it's pretty clear that she's like trying to like suck their life force or something out and like heal herself or something.
Yeah.
But I don't understand what the deeper meaning is supposed to be. I feel like it loses the deeper meaning around that part because Aunt Gladys becomes a real thing with a real goal, with real steps to achieve that goal that she's going through, and then they make real attempts to stop her from achieving that goal, and they're successful in stopping her. Like
Mhm.
everything feels very real and told that it loses that semblance of supernaturalism and just becomes like a story where this is like the norm of this world and we're in it.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah, that part again. I think again it was just like plot level stuff to me at that point, and so it
Yeah,
was
exactly.
fine. Um, Again, there's some lingering questions we don't necessarily need answers to, like the plants, where that came from, and
Mm.
like like is this actually the sister of like actually the aunts, and just somewhere along the way she went off and became this crazy like witch lady, or is there like a deeper,
Mm.
longer history to her? Um, Unsure. I'm sure they'll explore making some spin-off or something like that, but uh, yeah, that stuff I didn't need. I didn't care about too much. Just when they gave us that
Yeah.
explanation of like how are these people being weaponized, which we get in that demonstration in the kitchen with Benedict Wong. We see that, and then we're like, okay. For me, plot level stuff, I thought that was fine. As
Yeah. I
far
mean, it
as
all
again,
makes
like
the plot all makes sense.
the deeper stuff with Aunt Gladys, again, I don't think there is one. I think it's just she's there to be an antagonist, and
Yeah.
obviously she has to do it in some sort of supernatural way as a witch. So that to me, I was like, okay, whatever. As far as like the cop, what are their characters' names?
Paul.
Paul and
Paul's the cop. And James,
James
the
or
drug
something.
addict.
Okay, gotcha. Whether that's like Alden, how do you say his last name?
Alden Ehrenreich.
Ehrenreich. Yeah, crazy. Did not recognize him at the very
Yeah.
beginning there.
He's pretty good. He
Um,
looks like Tom Selleck.
that mustache man for sure.
Yeah.
And then Austin Abrams or something, I think is the other guy's name.
I think that's right.
Um, so yeah, we see their dynamic, and again, I think it's gesturing at stuff that can be like topical or somewhat going at commentary of, again, if we're to look at this cop as someone that's in the system that is failing at what they're trying to do to get those kids back, or obviously his treatment of the junkie there.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so you can read into that in that certain way, or you can read into again the
Yeah.
James character, him being left behind in society and people not taking care of people as they should, the sort of neglect, or everyone's in their own homes and not being an actual community. They're so caught up in their grief that people fall through the cracks, like that guy there. So it's like those things are there for sure. Um, However, I don't buy that was like why this was included. I think a cop character was included because it's partially an investigation, and this is another way to depict that investigation. And then I think the junkie character is there so that we can have somebody enter the house. It's like, what's the
Mhm.
motivation for someone entering the house where the kids are at? Oh,
Yeah.
he needs to steal stuff, needs money for drugs or something.
Yeah,
And then
that's
everything
another thing
its
is
own side
the
story.
thing that's pushing me forward for a lot of that first half is wanting to know what happened to the kids. And I think we find out really quick. Like he
Mm,
goes in the house and he sees them in the basement and I go, "Oh, there's the kids." And I guess I don't have much of a mystery left because they just have to go into the basement and there's the kids.
right.
So then it's more about a thriller of like, can they get there, I guess. Which is still exciting, but I really like a mystery. And to find out that they're just in the basement just standing there is like you told me so quick and I was really excited to like find out and now I know. It reminds me of Knives Out, when you're watching Knives Out and then like halfway
Mm,
through they're like, yeah, it was Ana de Armas. And you're like, "Oh, okay." And I guess there's a twist at the end with it. It's really Chris Evans, but it's still like halfway through they just kind of tell you, and I'm just like, oh, so it's not really about the mystery anymore. So the mystery is
Mm,
just gone. I don't really like when movies tell me the answer to the mystery and then go, by the way, there's gonna be a twist later, but we're not gonna tell you there's a twist later. We're just gonna solve the mystery right now, and then you're gonna get a twist later on. Because I'm not on the edge of my seat anymore. The mystery
right.
aspect is gone.
Indeed. But was there a twist later in this film?
Um,
There was not, I don't think. That's why I
Not a
questioned it.
twist, but there is like the further mystery of how they're controlled or like why they ran out that hasn't been answered yet, just because we know where they are. But for me, the
Yeah.
biggest mystery was where did they go, and we're just told halfway through the movie.
Mm,
I was under the impression we were never going to see them again because they never come back, and then they're in the basement, and I'm like, oh, they're there. Go get them, champs. They're in the
right.
one place that is the creepiest location of all of the locations we've seen so far in the movie. Surprise.
Yeah. So that I think, again, like I think there's some substance there, but
Mhm.
I don't know that that's like all in service of some broader theme
Yeah.
or like
In
this
the Paul
greater
and James
allegory that's being
sections.
made here about like the cop and the junkie and how these are just again further representations of the system failing or
Yeah.
a suburbia or a community that
It's
isn't as
very
tight
reminiscent
knit as it
of
could.
I know that Magnolia was a big influence and it's very reminiscent of the John C. Reilly stretches of Magnolia. Very
Yeah,
heavily
that's
so.
what that's more exactly because like this is why it's being brought in because of
Yeah.
some like a reference to a movie that he really
Yeah.
enjoyed. Um, I know
Which yeah,
Prisoners
I
is
get
brought
it.
up as
Yeah.
like a influence as well. I think that's the Josh Brolin part of it. I've
Yeah.
still not seen that movie, but
You've never seen Prisoners?
nope.
Dude, that movie slaps.
Watch it
Denis
sometime
Villeneuve.
soon. Denis Villeneuve, yes,
Denis
indeed.
Villeneuve.
So, which
Some
is
insane
again not
senties.
to say anything bad. I just think again the film is so competent and well crafted when it's
Mhm.
dealing with like just the basic execution of this mystery and bring us along in the plot. Um, and that's like amazing. Like it's great. It's
Mhm.
entertaining.
There was a long stretch of it, almost pretty much the whole movie, where I'm sitting in the theater and I really don't know what's going to happen next. And there's
Yeah,
not a lot of movies like that nowadays where I'm sitting there and I can't like predict at all where it's going to go. And I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed being on the edge of my seat and not knowing what was going to happen.
exactly. So that experience is fantastic.
It
And
kind of
this
loses
this
it,
film delivers it.
with the plot structure of going back and watching, the same scenes over and over again from a different perspective. Obviously, because I know what's going to happen. I saw it already, but still, there are definitely like long stretches where I don't know what's gonna happen when Josh Brolin goes around this corner. I don't know what's gonna happen when Julia Garner drives up to this house to check on Alex.
Hmm.
Anything could happen. The door's opening. I don't know what's gonna come out of the door. Oh, there's a woman with scissors. She's going to kill Julia Garner. I have no idea. She cuts her hair. I had no idea she was going to do that.
Yeah,
I don't know why she cut her hair. It's like serving so many questions nonstop that it's really really great, and then they start to give answers halfway through, and I just think it's too early in the movie to start getting answers.
mm,
I like pushing it to the last possible moment that you could in a story to be given answers, and I think in this movie they could have pushed it a little bit longer, to get answers.
gotcha. For me, yeah, I thought that was fine. I didn't have too many issues with when we learned certain information
Sure.
or how we learned it. Again, I thought all that was they made good decisions there. Um, I just think this is a good example of like this is deeply entertaining, very
Mhm.
well done,
Absolutely.
but it's not necessarily a masterpiece.
I agree.
And that's just because that like deeper thematic core isn't quite there.
Yeah.
And same with the characters. Like there's a lot of characters are all well constructed from like that basic standpoint. But as we both said, it's like we're not really attached to any of them that much. Partially because we don't get to spend a lot of time individually with any of them, but also there's just not much like there. Like the
Mhm.
arcs that these characters go on. Are there really any? Like in the Josh Brolin one of like, oh, he didn't tell his kid that he loved him enough when he was around, and now he's guilt ridden about that. It's
Mhm.
okay. It just felt like a very obvious like thing to include into this, and again, the whole point of him like trying to find the kid. I would hope either way he's trying to do that. So I don't know that that added much
Mhm.
dimension to it. And when they finally are reconciled, it's like, oh, it's like, that's good. That's nice. But I don't know. I don't think there was like much to emotionally attach to there.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think this is a great example of a film that's really, really good, really delivers well on what it's promising, but it isn't either because it's not interested in it or it just wanted to communicate other things like the genre stuff more than any broader statements or deeper thematic core. Um, it's just not masterpiece level, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Fun thrill ride in theaters. Definitely should see it with people that hopefully have their phones away. So you can just be taken on this crazy ride with insane twists, fun knockout moments. Again, it's also very funny in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I
Like,
love the James section is very funny when he's just trying to like break into cars and sell stuff. He
mhm,
wants to sell the gamepad and the guy doesn't want to buy it.
exactly. Yeah. So all that stuff is good. Um, the whole ending stuff with Gladys running away from the kids get weaponized,
Yeah, dude. That
and
that's a big gag.
they're just
Yeah.
chasing. It's a huge bit. Like it just becomes a comedy at that point. And this is like again the climax. We're chasing down the villain. We're about to take her out, and it's
Mhm.
just for laughs. So yeah, I think like all of that to me wasn't an issue. Like some I can
Mhm.
see might be like, oh, that's them going off the rails or undercutting the tension or the horror with
I think
this
there's nothing
comedic
wrong with
relief.
undercutting the tension with comedy.
And I think it did. It was like well balanced here. Definitely, I liked it more than the barbarian approach to it.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, but it did leave me like final the way it ends where they're like, oh yeah, and the parents are just like gone for good basically, and then the kids, there's like, oh, some of them are just now starting to speak again, but it's meant to leave you with like, oh yeah, they're fully traumatized,
Mhm.
and they're just never going to be the same. That was the moment where I was like, okay, like, again, we did just have this comedic bit of them running through the whole town chasing down this lady. I'm like, we could have probably ended it on a little bit lighter note. I don't know why you had to shift back into it being like this serious. They're ridden with trauma, but um, overall for the whole film, I don't think the like tonal shifts were distracting or out of
Yeah,
place.
no,
I think
I
it was
thought they
well
were
done.
fun.
But yeah, any crazy horror moments that got you? Any of the jump scares?
Uh, I didn't find it all that scary, to be honest. There's definitely like horror elements in there. A lot of like very, very noticeable tropes. You know, the music and everything going down, so it's really quiet before something scary is about to happen. Having those jump scares, the flashes. You know, the one that I thought got me, as opposed to anything else, was when she looks up into the ceiling and Aunt Gladys is on the ceiling.
Mm.
That one did get me, and I was like, oh, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. But then I was on the lookout from that point on, and so all the other Aunt Gladys jump scares didn't really get me. She was definitely like a Pennywise kind of substitute in a lot of ways, especially her in the woods when James is walking around and she's waving at James.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean just her appearance in general as well.
I'll tell you what, the needles stuff. As you know, I'm not the biggest fan of needles,
Hmm.
so that
When he
stuff
stabs him in the face.
got me. Yeah, the one where he's like pat him down the first time. He's like, "Do you have anything that's gonna poke me?" And he's like, "Nope, nope." And then he sticks his finger in it. Which, by the way, why was the needle like pointed up like that? I don't know. Maybe that was intentional to make the cop stab himself. But anyway, that's crazy to me. I was like, that was the most horrific part so far. And then later, when he stabs him in the face with
With
three of the
three needles,
needles, I'm like, good
and they're
God.
just sticking out of his cheek.
Yeah.
Oh
Which I
yeah, that's
thought,
rough.
because again, after the first one, the cop like smacks him and everything. I thought the cop he was very chill after getting stabbed with three in the face. That almost
Mhm.
went into his eye, man. Could have taken out his whole eyeball.
That would
Which
have been
thankfully
crazy.
they didn't do it. That would have been an insane image.
Yeah.
Um,
At that point, the plot's hitting a halt though. He's going to the hospital
he's
immediately.
he's
If his eye's gone, yeah.
for sure, yeah.
He's not
Uh,
gonna he's not gonna keep the plot moving with the missing an eye.
exactly. So yeah, that stuff got me the most, I think, for sure.
Mhm.
But then later in the house, again, the funny bit of the Josh Brolin just keeps throwing around the junkie dude. He
Yeah,
keeps
yeah.
he keeps getting up and chasing him again and just tosses him. He's like,
Mhm.
all right, enough of that. And then the
He
guy gets
knocks
back
him
up.
out and he's
Oh,
unconscious, then he gets back up and starts screaming again, then he knocks him out and he's unconscious, he gets up and starts screaming again.
yeah. So that. That was crazy. The Benedict Wong stuff as well. When he was running down with like the blood or ooze or whatever coming out of his
A
mouth and all
combo,
that.
combo of
Yeah,
both, wombo combo. Yeah,
definitely an unsettling image.
dude.
Very
I mean, he's like featured very prominently in the trailers, and I didn't recognize him. And then when I saw him in the actual movie, in the very opening like few scenes, I was like, oh, I didn't know Benedict Wong was in this, and I did not make the connection that that was going to be him later in the movie because he looked so vastly different,
yeah.
and it
No,
was him.
it certainly was. So I thought that portion was good too. And then the forks in the face was another one that was intense.
Ooh, yeah,
That
that
was
was a
insane.
lot.
Um,
It just goes on for a long time. Like, how many times can you stab yourself in the face before it becomes like a really big problem?
yeah, I know.
They they're just stabbing into themselves over and over and over and over and over.
Constantly. The other thing, just some stray observations while watching film. At a certain point, you think he would get really good at like feeding the soup to his parents, but they just keep getting soup all over them.
And the kids too. He goes to feed the kids the soup too, and he's just spilling it everywhere.
It's like, come on, man.
Have you not
Um,
learned anything, man?
get it together. I know
Yeah,
you're
get
going
a
through a
better
lot.
spoon or
Like,
something.
it's probably the worst 30 days anyone can go through, but like, come on, just
Yeah,
open their mouths a little more and then like angle the spoon better. Like, we can get through this. Come on.
terrible.
Um, so that part was funny. And then I thought he did really well. I thought the kid actor for that did
Yeah,
well.
that was great.
There's a random moment which again, we need to fact check this. They're trying to make a live action Polar Express. Is that right? I
Is
feel like
that there's no
somewhere along
way?
the way. Yeah.
I
Let's
mean,
let's
in
fact check this real quick.
all honesty, a live action Polar Express would look significantly better
You watch
than
your mouth.
the current animated version where Tom Hanks plays all the characters.
Again, the only request would be that Tom Hanks reprises all of his roles. I think that would be amazing. Um, I don't know if that was a rumor or not. Maybe it was just some like someone
I
was
think
just saying
it's
something. It was
yeah,
stupid.
go
But
rant.
anyway, this kid should be the main kid in Polar Express.
He would be good. Yeah,
He would be good.
better than
Um,
Tom Hanks.
yeah, so Tom Hanks can't reprise that role, but yeah, he's definitely. I was like, oh yeah, good position for that. And then yeah, Gladys rocking them wigs. Zach Cregger
Yeah,
has something about like I don't know, just aging women that don't have
shriveled up
full head
old
of hair.
raisin people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
he's
we'll
got
be looking
granny
forward to
issues or
that
something.
in Resident Evil or something. But granny
Shriveled up
issues is
old.
great. So
He has to. He must.
yeah, again, yeah. I mean, this is
Shriveled up
definitely
old raisins of women. You know, the mother in Barbarian that has these long dangling knockers and
yep.
giant ugly forehead.
We don't see what Gladys is rocking. She does not get undressed,
Fortunately,
thankfully.
yeah, thank God. We're
um,
spared this time. But she definitely just looks like a fucking clown.
she certainly does. Yeah, it went a little overboard in that makeup. Which again, I think most of the stuff going on in the film is just like in service of the plot. I don't think it's like meant to represent anything else. Of like, oh, look at how the teachers of the community or the police aren't like doing their due diligence. But like, come on, once this lady shows up in town and then kids go missing right away, like no one is immediately having questions. Like when the
And the
cops go to
dad
her
is like,
house,
the dad supposedly suffered a stroke. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of
yeah, the dad
questions
randomly.
that have somewhat convenient. I guess they do search the house. They do their due diligence. They search and there's nothing there.
But couldn't they see? Because the dad. But what about the mom? Like they're both acting very weird.
Yeah, I don't
No
know.
one's like checking in. They don't have family, friends, or anyone that's like checking in on them and being like,
If
"Huh."
I was a police officer and 17 kids go missing and the one kid that didn't, the woman that came to talk to us looked like that, I think I think I have my answer. I don't think I would like in the same way that the parents are convinced it's Julia Garner. I would be the police officer going, guys, trust me, we have a way better suspect lined up.
Yeah,
If you took one fucking look at her, you'd be on my side. It
yeah,
is
like
not
the
this sweet, innocent little teacher lady. It is this really, really, really ugly, creepy clown aunt woman.
oh my God. Yeah. Again, just the way like when they show up and uh just the first conversation she has with them, it's already like off-putting. So that would definitely be even after checking once, it's like, okay, find a way to
She's
check
like,
again
she's like,
or
oh,
look
yes,
more
this
into
is
her.
terrible. Like she's like practically smiling while she says it. She's
Yeah.
like, oh, he had a stroke, so I'm looking after the family. The police
Yeah.
come over and she's like, welcome, come on in.
hmm
She's just way too happy for somebody who has the police looking for 17 missing children in her house.
And again, it's like they don't do any wellness check or another like interview at any point to
Yeah,
her
30
house.
days. Yeah,
They
30 days
clean up.
later, they don't do a follow up.
They
You
clean
don't have
up
any
her
more
house.
leads. Yeah.
She like makes Alex clean up the house and everything, and then they just put it right back to okay. Now there's newspapers over the
If they went
house
back
again. It's
and they
dirty.
saw it in the same way that Julia Garner saw it, there would be a concern of like, hang on,
Yeah,
it didn't look like this a week ago. Granted, I don't think, I mean, any police officer that was to go and do a due diligence check, I think something similar would befall them as James, of course. But
but even then, well, they'd have like a record of it or something.
yeah, there would only be they would
have
only
a
get away with
partner
that for so
there.
long. In the same way that Aunt Gladys is like, we got to leave because they have a cop now and other people are looking into it. Like people have noticed now. I think they like it's not a plot hole because people do eventually notice and they show up. I just think it takes a surprising amount of time for somebody to notice.
Yeah,
That like there's something amiss with the house.
for sure. And
It's not believable though. It's not.
why is
I
she
don't think it's
making the kid go out and buy soup all the time? Like she can't do that. The poor kid has to go
Yeah.
and
Talk about a red flag. Like if one kid is left out of the 17 kids and he's off walking to school now on his own and shopping on his own for just cans of soup.
yeah.
I'm
The
noticing.
cashier isn't wondering like, hey,
Why
buddy,
is there a 5-year-old
seventh
buying?
day in a row, you're just getting more cans of soup. Why are you getting 30 cans of soup? Wow, you're not eating
Every
all this,
single
are you?
day.
Yeah, where are all these going?
Oh yeah, I wonder who he's feeding these 30 cans of soup to every day. Could it be the 17 missing children?
Like, yeah, that gets. I don't know. Just all these questions that would be there that I think they would catch on to quicker than they actually.
We can't harass a family just because they really like soup. Okay.
I'm telling you, boss. There's something about these soups. No one likes soup that much. Okay, I've had it. It's not
They
good.
never tell you in police academy to follow the soup.
Yeah, and that's why it's all falling apart, man.
Yeah, that's why our country has gotten this way.
Exactly.
The police don't follow the soup.
All right.
Do you have anything else to say? I think I have said my piece about weapons.
I think we covered it.
I think we did indeed. How many broken twigs out of 5, Ryan?
I'm giving it 3.5.
I'm going to give it 4. I think I'm going to give it 4.
Oh, nice.
I found it entertaining. I was engaged the whole time. I really liked the technical aspects of it, how it was filmed and whatnot. I was excited by it. It felt very fresh and new, even though it had like a lot of inspirations from other movies that were very clear and obvious. It still felt like a very fresh story. It felt like a captivating hook, to really get you into the story. And the only issues I really had were kind of like that development in that second half, which was the same. Is the same problem I had in Barbarian, but I think they're much more successful in this one.
Well said.
So shout out Zach Cregger. I'll be there to watch Resident Evil. I'm down.
That'll be fascinating. Can it top the 5 or 6? How many Resident Evil films do we have already?
A lot.
We're gonna do an episode on that for sure. That'll be interesting.
Absolutely. Anyway, that's all the time we have. If you'd like to give your thoughts on the show, you can email us at theboxofficeshowpod@gmail.com.
Our main title theme for the show is Sundown by Joseph McDade.
And if you like the show, please give us 5 stars, whatever podcast app you're listening to, and be sure to tune in next week. Have a great rest of the day.